Welcome to episode 13 of the Card Notes by Vintage Hockey Cards Report podcast. Today we're taking a closer look at these 5 hockey cards. The Anders Hedberg 1978-79 o-pee-chee number 25 card, the Bernie Geoffrion 1960-61 Parkhurst 46 card, the Bill Barber 1974-75 o-pee-chee number 8 card, the Blaine Stoughton 1980-81 o-pee-chee 30 card, and the Dave Dryden 1973-74 o-pee-chee number 63 hockey card. Let's get on with it. Enjoy. The Anders Hedberg 1978-79 o-pee-chee number 25 hockey card. Written on the back of the card, a veteran of 4 seasons with WHA's Winnipeg Jets, Anders joined the Rangers for 1978-79. He won the league's Rookie of the Year award in 1974-75 and led with 13 goals during the playoffs of 1976. A closer look. Anders Hedberg made an incredible impact the moment he stepped on North American soil to play for the Winnipeg Jets in the World Hockey Association. In his 4 years with the club, he scored at least 50 goals and topped 100 points. Anders was awarded the Lou Kaplan Trophy as Rookie of the Year in 1974-75 after scoring 53 goals and contributing an even 100 points. Hedberg topped out in 1976-77 with 70 goals and 131 points. He led the WHA in goal scoring and was second in points, 10 behind the Bill Hunter Trophy winner Réal Cloutier of the Quebec Nordiques. Over his 4 years with Winnipeg, Hedberg was a first-team All-Star twice and a second-team All-Star twice. He helped the Jets to 2 AVCO World Trophy championships while reaching the final in a losing cause once. A look at his NHL career. Hedberg's time in the National Hockey League wasn't quite as spectacular, but was certainly decent. Anders played 465 regular season and 58 Stanley Cup playoff games in the NHL between 1978-79 and 1984-85, all with the New York Rangers. Anders was a 30-goal scorer with the Blue Shirts 4 times and topped the 20-goal plateau in 6 of 7 campaigns. He was awarded the Bill Masterton Trophy in 1984-85 and is a member of the IIHF Hall of Fame. The Bernie Geoffrion 1960-61 Parkhurst number 46 hockey card. Written on the back of the card. Playing his 11th season with the Canadiens, Bernie Geoffrion is a player who oozes color and ability. Won the Rookie Award in 1951-52 and the NHL Scoring Crown in 1954-55. A tough luck guy who has had more than his share of injuries during his career and was able to play a complete season only once. Has one of the hardest shots in the game, which can be attested by his 254 goals. Played on 6 Stanley Cup championships. A closer look. Bernie Geoffrion won the Calder Trophy as NHL Rookie of the Year in 1951-52. That year he scored 30 goals and assisted on 24 for 54 points over 67 games for the Montreal Canadiens. He had played 18 regular season and 11 playoff games for the Habs in 1950-51, but was still an eligible rookie. His 30 goals led the team and tied him with Ted Lindsay of the Red Wings for 3rd in the NHL. 1954-55, as referred to on the back of this 1960-61 Parkhurst hockey card, would be the only year Geoffrion played the full schedule. Appearing in all 70 games helped him to the Art Ross Trophy with 75 points on 38 goals and 37 assists. This gave him a 1-point edge over Maurice Richard and a 2-point advantage over Jean Beliveau, all 3 teammates with Montreal. 1960-61 would turn out to be another great offensive season for Boom Boom. He led the National Hockey League with 95 points, winning the Art Ross Trophy for the second and final time of his career. He also became just the second player in NHL history to reach the 50-goal plateau. In all, Geoffrion appeared in 883 regular season and 132 playoff games in the NHL between 1950-51 and 1967-68 with the Canadiens and New York Rangers. The 6-time Stanley Cup champion was inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame in 1972. His jersey number 5 was retired by the Montreal Canadiens in 2006. The Bill Barber 1974-75 o-pee-chee number 8 hockey card. Written on the back of the card. In 2 seasons, Bill proved that he is headed for stardom in the NHL. He just missed Rookie of the Year honors, finishing 2nd in 1972-73. Bill has what the scouts call hockey sense. The puck often seems to follow him around. He's a good skater and a very accurate shot. 9 of his goals last year came while the Flyers had a man advantage. A closer look. Bill Barber was indeed the runner-up for the Calder Trophy in 1972-73. Steve Vickers of the New York Rangers took the honor. Billy Harris, Jim Schoenfeld, and Dan Bouchard rounded out the top 5. Barber scored 30 goals and assisted on 34 for 64 points over just 69 games for the Philadelphia Flyers in his first year. He also spent time in the AHL with the Baltimore Robins and appeared in 11 Stanley Cup playoff games with the Flyers. He definitely was destined for stardom, as predicted on the back of the card. Between 1972-73 and 1983-84, Bill played 903 regular season and 129 playoff games in the National Hockey League, all with the Flyers. He had his best season offensively in 1975-76, scoring 50 goals and totaling 112 points. He topped the 40-goal plateau 5 times and finished with 420 career goals. Barber helped the Flyers win 2 consecutive Stanley Cup championships in the 1970s. He was inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame in 1990. The same year, his number 7 was retired by Philadelphia. That same number is honored in his name by his junior club, the Kitchener Rangers. The Blaine Stoughton 1980-81 o-pee-chee number 30 hockey card. Written on the back of the card, key goal for Whalers in 78-79 WHA playoffs versus Stingers. Whalers coach Don Blackburn is a former Whalers player. A closer look. In 1978-79, the New England Whalers and Cincinnati Stingers played a best-of-3 series to determine the 4th and final seed for the WHA playoffs. New England won the series 2-1. In the semi-final, the Whalers then fell in 7 games to the Edmonton Oilers. Blaine Stoughton had 4 goals and 3 assists for 7 points in the 7 playoff games he played that year. As for Don Blackburn, he did play for the New England Whalers for parts of 3 seasons from 1973-74 to 1975-76. He was head coach of the team in the Hartford Whalers' first season in the National Hockey League 1979-80. He was replaced 60 games into the following campaign by Larry Plow, a mainstay with the team throughout the 7 years of the WHA's existence. Blaine Stoughton had a career year in 1979-80. His 56 goals put him in a 3-way deadlock atop the NHL, tied with Charlie Simmer of the Los Angeles Kings and Danny Gare of the Buffalo Sabres. Stoughton would be a 50-goal scorer one more time in 1981-82. His 52 goals with Hartford placed him 6th in the NHL, 2 behind Rick Vaive of the Toronto Maple Leafs and a whopping 40 goals behind record breaker Wayne Gretzky of the Edmonton Oilers. In all, Blaine Stoughton played 526 regular season and just 8 playoff games in the National Hockey League between 1973-74 and 1983-84 with the Pittsburgh Penguins, Toronto Maple Leafs, Hartford Whalers, and New York Rangers. He was originally a 7th overall pick by the Penguins at the 1973 NHL Amateur Draft out of the Flin Flon Bombers. The Dave Dryden 1973-74 o-pee-chee number 63 hockey card. Written on the back of the card, older brother of Montreal's Ken Dryden. When Dave and Ken faced each other in 1971, it was the first time in NHL history that goalie brothers had played against each other. Dave came up through the Chicago farm system. A closer look. Dave Dryden did play against his brother Ken near the end of the 1970-71 season. Neither goalie started the game, with both entering in relief of the starters. The older Dryden did get his start in the Chicago Blackhawks organization, but actually played his first NHL game for the New York Rangers during the 1961-62 NHL season while still a junior with the Toronto Marlboros. Dave saw time with the Blackhawks between 1965-66 and 1968-69. He got into a respectable number of games as backup to Dennis DeJordy in 1967-68 and 1968-69 after the legendary Glenn Hall was picked up by the expansion St. Louis Blues. Roger Crozier and Joe Daly shared the bulk of duties with the brand new Buffalo Sabres in the team's inaugural 1970-71 NHL season, with Dryden just seeing 10 games. However, his games played increased each year until he was Buffalo's number 1 for the 1973-74 season, appearing in 53 games. For 1974-75, Dryden jumped to the World Hockey Association and would play 5 years in the WHA with the Chicago Cougars and Edmonton Oilers. He had one last shot at the NHL in 1979-80, playing 14 games for the Oilers. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Card Notes. Stay tuned, there'll be more coming up soon. If you could, please hit the like button, and we'd really appreciate if you'd subscribe to the channel.